Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Wednesday evening, May 22, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the weather's been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related questions that you might have about the future though they're in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look back at the rainbow satellite images. We're looking at the trough that we've been watching for the past week, and we can see that most of the activity associated with it is now off towards the east and to the southeast and the northeast of the island of Jamaica right here. We can see that for the most part we're experiencing clear skies. Most of us had sunny weather today, even although we were expecting rainfall that we didn't get. It seemed like most of the rainfall it took place on Tuesday, but that could change on Thursday. Thursday seems to be promising in terms of rainfall, but this was expected. In yesterday's video I reiterated, and in day before yesterday's video I reiterated the fact that these troughs are very tricky. They can definitely bring a lot of rainfall, surprising us sometimes, causing some flooding, and at the same time they can bring more in the way of sunshine than anything else, displacing all of the rainfall off towards the east or the west or the north. And that was definitely what happened. Look, we expected the rainfall on Wednesday, but we got most of it on Tuesday into Wednesday instead, and we're indeed grateful that it's not anything ridiculous, life-threatening or anything like that. We take the rainfall and we're indeed grateful for what we got. The temperatures definitely cooled down, even although today was sunny and hot in some spots. But you can see that definitely Haiti, the Dominican Republic, sections of Puerto Rico are still getting nailed by the rainfall. The southern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos getting in on the action as well, eastern Cuba. And there's a lot more to come as we head into the next 12 hours. And if we take a look at the forecast maps, we're just going to be going out to the next 3 days. So we're going to be focusing our attention on the forecast hour, on the Euro model right here, and we're going to still take a look right here across the Caribbean, especially Jamaica right here. We're just going to be seeing exactly what's going to be going on. So we're not going to be looking at the next 3 days. We're going to be looking at the next 7 days actually. So the next 168 hours, we're doing what the U.S. National Hurricane Center would normally do. So we're going out in time. You can see that even by Thursday morning, we still have some greens that represent rainfall off towards the east of the island of Jamaica. By Thursday afternoon, this is 18th on Thursday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Thursday, and we see most of the greens across most parts of Jamaica. So we'll see exactly what unfolds with that afternoon of rainfall. Friday, definitely less rainfall, but we see some afternoon rainfall again. Saturday, moving ahead into Sunday, so we see some bits of greens here and there, nothing too drastic, no darker shades of greens, no yellows that represent some tremendous rainfall. So it seems like if anything there's gonna be a return of some amount of the usual, especially afternoon rainfall across the island. GFS, if we take a look at the same time period, something similar. The rainfall that we just saw on Thursday afternoon, that's expected Friday afternoon, going out in time. Some hit or miss showers, especially during the afternoon on most of the days during the next 7 days. So you can see that both of them are in consensus that we're definitely going to be getting some amount of on and off rainfall over the next 7 days, especially during the afternoon hours, and we're indeed grateful for this. If we even take a look at the accumulated precipitation forecast that's expected during the next 3 days, we can definitely see that yes, we have some darker shades of greens that represent rainfall that's expected, but we can see that most of the rainfall associated with the trough should still continue to affect section of Haiti, Dominican Republic, section of Cuba, the southern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, Puerto Rico. All of these blues, purples, all of this, as we know, represent anywhere from up to an inch of rainfall, maybe even up to 6 inches of rainfall in some spots. Seeing some burgundy colors in there that represent maybe close to 7 inches of rainfall. And the thing is, both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with that. So most of that rainfall definitely off to the east of the island of Jamaica. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see the broken orange lines right here associated with the trough, still lingering across portions of the Greater Antilles, including Bahamas, the southwestern Atlantic, sections of the Central Caribbean, and we can see that we still have that ridge of high pressure across the northeastern portions of North Atlantic that we know is responsible for sending all of those easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. And we can see that we finally have a tropical wave right here across the main development region. We're going to be talking some more about tropical waves in the coming day. We know coming days, tropical waves, they definitely are kink in the atmosphere. So it's not necessarily in the ocean, as some might think in terms of the word wave. So it's a kink in the atmosphere that causes, some amount of convergence, brings some amount of cloud showers and thunderstorms to sections of the area. And we know all of these usually push west as they move along in the trade winds, and they are definitely the seedlings that grow to become tropical depressions, tropical storms, or even hurricanes. So I'll be keeping you posted as time goes on regarding these. If we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can actually see the clouds associated with this tropical wave right here. We can see the clouds associated with the trough that we just mentioned, most of it off towards the east of the island, definitely affecting sections of Panama, sections of Colombia. Even saw video footage today of some flooding taking place across sections of Colombia, all because of this trough. The trough is definitely digging southward and causing a lot of moisture to be surging northward into the Caribbean. So even coastal areas of Colombia, areas that are not usually flooding, are definitely flooding as we speak because of the trough. So I hope those persons are taking necessary precautions so that they're not that drastically affected. We can see some low-level southeasterly flow across the eastern Caribbean, bring some amount of clouds and isolated shores sections of the Leeward Islands as well. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Wednesday, May 22. It was stated that we would have received rainfall across sections of the island, last night into this morning. As a matter of fact, I even woke up and made a video about the weather across Jamaica for this morning, just to give you an update, because I know how tricky these troughs are. We expected a lot of rain today, but most of it was pushed off to the east of the island, so it brought more, and we have some sunny conditions to us. So just for reference, rain was expected for a section of the island. So we know eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey. So Kingston, St. Andrew, Portland, St. Thomas. Central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex. So St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. While western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall. So St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, and Trelawney. And what ended up happening? We saw that the infrared satellite image was posted at 8:40 a.m. on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica. It was also posted on our Instagram page at weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as we make daily posts every day that you can't afford to miss. We know that we don't make these posts throughout the day on YouTube at all, so we're definitely here for you guys. So we saw that we definitely had those clouds more so off towards the east of the island, especially across the waters to the south of Haiti and the Dominican Republic, where we see all of those oranges and reds that represent a lot of thunderstorm activity. So Jamaica was definitely spared the worst. We got most of our activity on Tuesday, and let me reiterate, the troughs can be very tricky. Sometimes us ourselves don't even know exactly what the troughs are going to do. We just know that there's going to be a trough in the area. It could bring rainfall, and at the same time it could push all the rainfall offshore, not necessarily affecting us, bring more, and we have sunny skies than anything else. If we take a look at the Cuban Doppler radar images that were posted at 3:30 p.m., we saw that yes, we had some amount of rainfall right there across sections of western Jamaica. So definitely sections of Hanover, Westmoreland, northwestern St. Elizabeth got in some amount of rainfall. We even saw some rainfall coming into sections of Portland, even although we didn't mention it to that, but Portland is used to that rainfall. If we even take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down, we can see all of the clouds bringing rainfall to sections of Portland, sections of even western St. Catherine gotten on some amount of activity, sections of St. Elizabeth, and Manchester gotten on some amount of rainfall as well. Elsewhere seemed to be in the clear. Taking a look at the infrared satellite images, we can actually see that we indeed had some thunderstorm activity right where we saw it on the Cuban Doppler radar images. So sections of Hanover and Westmoreland right there. We know the sparkling white dots represent some amount of lightning flashes, if not lightning strikes. Not to mention the high code cloud tops being represented by the blues and green. So we definitely had some thunderstorm activity during the afternoon hours. Taking a look at the latest Cuban Doppler radar images, we can see that we still have some amount of lingering rainfall as represented by these greens and yellows right there off to the southwest of the island. You can see that most of the rainfall is off toward east right there between Haiti and Cuba and Jamaica, definitely associated with that trough. As it relates to the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay and Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Thursday, temperature should dip down to about 24 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay and Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is showing 18Z on Thursday. When you calculate that, that's 1 p.m. on Thursday, and we still see that the trough in the Caribbean is expected to bring more in way of those gray colors as well as those light bluish colors that we can see by the key on the right that represents 0 to negative degrees Celsius temperature. So maybe anywhere from 0 to negative 2 degrees Celsius below normal temperatures, and we're indeed grateful for that. It's nothing above normal. The trough is definitely going to be lingering in our area and causing the temperatures not to feel that warm like what we've been experiencing for the past 2 to 3 weeks, and we're indeed grateful for that. We're in the month of May. We usually receive up to 89 degrees Fahrenheit during this month in terms of our average temperature, and we know 89 degrees Fahrenheit, when we take a look at the thermometer, is about the same as 31 degrees Celsius. So if we're going to be receiving below normal temperatures, if not average temperatures, you should be anywhere from, let's say, 29 to 31 degrees Celsius at most. As relates to the dry air map, we can see that for the most part, majority of the Caribbean is getting in on some moist air, as we can see by these blues. All of this associated with the trough, and we're indeed grateful. You know, the dry air is represented by what we see on the key on the bottom, the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and whites within those rays. And we can see a lot of dry air right there off the northeastern coast of the United States. A lot of dry air across the Gulf of Mexico, the Western Caribbean, as well as sections of the main development region all the way to Africa. But what about the Saharan dust forecast? This map is showing 2 p.m. on Thursday, and we do see some light brown colors right there across sections of the Central Caribbean, definitely pushing maybe westward or west-northwestward in a sense. But we're indeed grateful that we're not getting on this very vigorous plume right here, these darker shades of brown across the car that we know causes a lot of hazy skies and triggers some amount of respiratory illnesses in some people. So we might see some slight haze as we enter into Thursday and Friday across the Jamaica area. As it relates to the wave forecast for tomorrow, you can see that both the Euro and the GFS models are still showing more in the way of those lighter shades of blues to darker shades of blues that represent anywhere from 0.5 meter wave heights to 1 meter wave heights, and that's because the winds are not going to be that strong at all. We see more in the way of those bluish greenish colors across the Jamaica area that represents anywhere from 5 to 10 to even 15 knots at most. And we see some difference in terms of the winds that are expected. Look at this, the Euro showing winds coming more so from the south across the eastern portion of the island. We can see it right here, winds coming more so from the northeast across the northwestern portion of the island. We see more in the way of blues to signal that we're going to be receiving less wind across the island for tomorrow. That's according to the Euro though. So we see some differences, because if we take a look right here at the GFS model, we see more of those winds coming in from the southeast, coming and curving across the north right here. And then we have we have those blues across section of some eastern, central, and western parishes that represent the least amount of wind. So we might get some amount of afternoon rainfall across section of the island. It's gonna be interesting to see exactly what unfolds. Either way, afternoon rainfall is definitely expected. And with the trough still in our air, we can see the trough right here, and it's still expected to bring more in the way of those southwesterly to northeasterly wind shear across the island. So that could favor more of that rainfall across sections of some northern parishes in Jamaica. Let me find these images quickly. So maybe some afternoon rainfall definitely in store for sections of Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, and Portland more than anything else. And if we take a look at the 1 hour rainfall forecast maps, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both in consensus that we're going to be receiving some amount of a rainfall. And look at the timestamp. This is Wednesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is tonight. So it's actually 9 p.m. tonight. We're seeing some blues that represent rainfall across maybe the northern and eastern portion of the island. We'll see exactly what unfolds. The time is now 8 minutes past 7. I'll be keeping you posted to see if that exactly happened on my Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok page. Moving ahead in time, this is 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's actually 5 a.m. Jamaica time, and we do see the consensus that yes, we have some blues that represent rainfall across sections of some eastern parishes, some northeastern parishes as well. I'll tell you what happens at that time as well. Then by 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's actually 2 p.m. Jamaica time, we start to see more of those blues that represent rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes, with more of the darkest shades of blues that represent rainfall across northern parishes. So there's gonna be some rainfall across the island, especially northern parishes. And I'll be here to keep you posted even by 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 5 p.m. Jamaica time. We still see the blues lingering that represent rainfall across sections of the island. Either way, both accumulated precipitation forecast maps by the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus that there's going to be some amount of rainfall across the island within the next 24 hours. These maps are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Thursday, and we do see that there's going to be rainfall and there's going to be differences in where the rainfall is expected and the totals. GFS showing up to 0.7 of an inch of rainfall, the most in the way of rainfall across the northeast. Euro showing some of that rainfall as well across eastern Jamaica as well as sections of western Jamaica. We'll see exactly what unfolds, and I'll be here to keep you all posted. We're in the month of May. We usually receive up to 213 millimeters of rainfall during this month. If you don't know, 1 inch of rainfall is represented by at least 25 millimeters of rainfall, and if we actually do the calculation, that's about almost 9 inches of rainfall during the month of May. So we'll take all the rainfall that we can get before we can get up into the actual rainfall that's expected during the month of May, the average rainfall. Hopefully we get some more rainfall before we wrap up the month of May and head into June. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we still have the trough lingering. Lots of shearing going on. Definitely bring some amount of cloud showers and thunderstorms sections of Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, sections of Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana as usual. We can see some of that activity across sections of the northeastern Caribbean as well. The southern Bahamas, eastern Cuba, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, the Leeward Islands definitely getting on some amount of rainfall even as we speak. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean right now, you can definitely see that they're getting it as we speak. Look at all of these greens and yellows that represent some amount of light, moderate to even heavy rainfall, especially represented by the yellows. This is the latest Doppler radar image. Doppler radar images show the actual rainfall as opposed to satellite images. Satellite images can show cloud cover and not necessarily rainfall. So we can have cloud cover over here and no rain. So we are seeing the rainfall right now on the Puerto Rican radar. Definitely some rainfall affecting sections of the eastern portions of the Dominican Republic. Northeastern Puerto Rico definitely getting nailed as we speak. San Juan getting hit heavily right now. The US and British Virgin Islands could be getting on some flash flooding even right now. And we see that elsewhere, It's just some hit or miss sprinkles right there off to the east of Martinique, east of Dominica. Section of Guadeloupe might be getting in on some of the action right now. As relates to what we're seeing on the Barbados radar, we can see that Barbados not getting in on much right now, but if we zoom out, we do see some rainfall off to the southeast and north of the island. Some of this rainfall affecting sections of Martinique right now. Some of this rainfall going into section of the Grenadine Islands and Grenada as we speak. You can see even a line of showers right here passing by to the south of St. Lucia. Taking a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see these images showing from earlier today where we had that very heavy rainfall between the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, but right now most of that rainfall off towards the east of Puerto Rico. If we take a closer look, we can even see that rainfall that we just mentioned on the Colombian radar, sections of French Guiana and Suriname as usual, even sections of northeastern Colombia as well as northwestern Venezuela getting in on the action as well. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we can see that this map from the GFS is showing 18Z on Tuesday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Tuesday, and we do see that yes, we have some yellows and some slight oranges that still should affect sections of the Eastern Caribbean and Northern South America that represent above normal temperatures. More so, we do have those grays and blues that represent average to below normal temperatures should be affecting sections of the Greater Antilles, Central Caribbean, the Bahamas, sections of Eastern Cuba, Haiti, Dominican Republic, while above normal temperatures especially still should be affecting sections of the United States, Gulf of Mexico, sections of Mexico itself. Tremendous above normal temperatures as represented by those blacks and whatnot, as we can see by the key on the right. So I hope they're taking necessary precautions so that they're not, affected by the heat. As it relates to the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Sunday, or 2 p.m. on Thursday, we can see the browns that represent the Saharan dust stretching all the way from Africa across the main development region. And we do see that for the most part, most of the Caribbean is dwindling in terms of the Saharan dust that's expected. Just some patchy spots of light shades of browns here and there across sections of Cuba, sections of the Bahamas, south of Haiti and Dominican Republic. And most of this is just passing through quickly, not anything drastic at all, and we're indeed grateful for that. As it relates to the wave forecast for tomorrow, you can see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus that we're going to be receiving those lighter shades of blues to darker shades of blues that represent anywhere from 0.5 meter wave heights to 1.5 meter wave heights, and that's because the winds are not going to be that strong at all. We see more and we have those bluish greens and those brighter shades of greens, even gusting up to those 25 knots, as we know are representing the yellows, or are represented by the yellows. And we see the flow coming in from the east across the Eastern Caribbean, curving northward. Not so strong across the Central Caribbean at all, but we do see by the time it gets into the Gulf of Mexico coming in from the southeast. But what about the rainfall that's expected now? So taking a look at what's expected, both of these maps from the Euro and the GFS models are clearly in consensus with what's expected within the next 24 hours. So definitely some more rainfall in store for sections of Cuba, the southern Bahamas, Jamaica. Not so much for the Cayman Islands at all. They're definitely in the clear. Section of Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, if they're not already receiving that rainfall right now, it's definitely coming within the next 24 hours. The southern Bahamas, if I didn't say that yet, the Turks and Caicos, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, section of St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, sections of the southern portions of Venezuela, central and western Venezuela, Colombia especially, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, section of El Salvador, and southern Guatemala getting in on some of that rainfall. To mention section of Guyana, Suriname, and French Guiana. And the thing is, when we take a look at both this map from the GFS and this map from the Euro, we're seeing consensus. We're seeing that both of them are showing rainfall in the very same spots that we just mentioned. I know that when they're showing something similar like this, the chances of actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.